Montclair State ended up beating Maritime 3-0, so it was Messiah and Montclair State, and that was actually the toughest contest for the Falcons. During their trip to San Antonio, it was a 2-1 overtime win against Montclair State, much like the Titans' opening game against Carroll College. An overtime winner for Messiah pushed them into the third round. They then took on Mendeline, and they beat them 2-0. And then in the quarterfinal round that sent them to San Antonio, they beat Merchant Marine 3-0. So they outscored their last two opponents 5-0 on their way to San Antonio and stand at 21-1-0 on the year. That lone loss came at the beginning of the season for the Falcons. They have run off 21 straight. However, Oshkosh still is the only undefeated team left in the Final Four as they stand at 20-3. So like we said, the matchup is quickly approaching down in San Antonio, and we will actually head back down and let's catch up with Brian and Chris yet again to find out a little bit more about this Messiah team. Brian, Chris.
And can be purchased for as little.
Thanks, BJ.
What can you tell us a little bit more about this Messiah team? 21-1-0 on the year, kind of covered just the basic stuff, but as far as the style of play, do you guys have any idea what they do?
We've never seen them in action before, so it's a tough call to actually see how they perform on the pitch. But as far as we know by what the stats say on paper, this team is just about as good, if not better, than Oshkosh at controlling the ball, controlling possession. They have a lot of shots on goal versus their opponents. Their goal against average is right up there. Chris, anything else you want to add about this team? I mean, you've been studying the statistics since we've arrived here in San Antonio, even beforehand.
They play a very, very similar style of game that UW Oshkosh plays. So those of you who have seen Oshkosh play this season, it's going to be a very similar style. They attack on the outside. They possess the ball in the middle of the field extremely well. They have, four backs that can move forward very well. They have a very solid goalkeeper in Jake Berry, and it's very, very similar style of play to TW Oshkosh. So as I said a little bit earlier, whoever plays their game the best is going to probably end up on top today. Whoever wins the possession battle is going to have more chances. But that being said, it could come down to a set piece. It could come down to multitude of things. It could come down to a corner kick. It could come down to one through ball, and that's it. And then especially with how stellar these two teams' defenses are, Messiah's only given up 10 goals on the season. They've only given up 2 in the last couple months. I think I saw they've only given up 2 goals since September 25th. Yeah. So they're locked in. They're locked in right now, and Oshkosh has only given up 5 goals all year. So very similar styles, and whoever plays their game the best is going to come out on top today, in my opinion.
Guys, just reading an article. It said both teams employ a 4-3-3 formation and play a Dutch style of soccer predicated on quick passing and heavy possession.
Absolutely.
But you listen to that, you hear Dutch style of play. That's got to favor the Titans because Coach Molenaar is from the Netherlands.
I was just going to say that. BJ took the words right out of my mouth. Dutch style of play. Head coach beats Melton Molenaar from Holland, and that's, hey, it fits the title, so why not give him the edge? Why not?
Guys, you are there right now. Can you give us any kind of insight on what you guys are seeing right now on the field, how the team is warming up, how they look? Are they energetic? What's going down there in San Antonio?
Both teams are fired up, and I'll give you one guess as to what drill both teams are doing right now. They're doing possession drills right now. They're working on possessing the ball in the squared off area. Messiah is working in circles. They are really working their goalkeeper pretty hard right now. They're working Jake Berry. They're ripping shots at him from 20 yards, and these coaches for Messiah, they must be former Messiah players because they're putting them in the top 90 and just putting lasers in the bottom left and right corner. So they're working Jake Berry hard, and Oshkosh working possession drills. Ginville and Sean Steele are working with James Pike right now, who's getting some goal kicks in as well. So they're standard warm-ups where we're getting down to the wire here. 15 minutes left to go. The officials just walking out of the pitch. Brisk wind is sure the defense who are working on their long passes, their crossing passes. They're getting used to this wind right now. The field runs north to south, but the wind is running west to east right now. It's an east wind, so it's going to favor one side of the field. If from teams working from the near side to the far side, or from the west to the east, might have a bit of an advantage if this wind stays the way it is. But thinner warm-ups right now, and Oshkosh moving to the tree drill right now, taking shots from about anywhere from 15 to 20 yards straight on at James Pike. They're not taking it easy on them. I'm sure they're getting their legs ready. They're seeing what kind of shots they can get with this wind and off this surface that is more like a fairway than what we're used to seeing at J.J. Keller Field.
Yeah, this is not grassy turf out here. It's a beautiful complex. The field is in excellent condition, but this is the real thing. This is not grassy turf. This is not AstroTurf. This is grass. This is sod. So it looks pretty dry out there. I don't think they've been getting a lot of rain here in San Antonio in recent weeks. I don't think they do in general anyways down in Texas.
Which means it'll play a little bit quicker, like the synthetic surface that Oshkosh is used to playing on. That's not going to give any real advantage. Everybody plays on all kinds of surfaces throughout the year, but just kind of give you guys a feel of what things are like and what everybody's going to have to deal with this morning.
Chris, you brought up a point earlier about the wind. That's something that the Titans actually kind of familiar with, considering the wind here at Oshkosh during the regional and sectionals. Their ability to be able to play that wind, and you mentioned in one of the highlights, Andy Cole, how good he was from his corner kicks. Is that something that the Titans will look to take advantage of today?
Absolutely. I think that Andy Cole has done a superb job with his corners. Talking about wind conditions, it doesn't get much worse in the Midwest, especially in the Fox Valley area up in Oshkosh. The wind was strong for the regional and sectional tournaments, and Cole did a superb job controlling where that ball went. And it's really tough to judge, too. I think head coach Vita Molinar said in an interview that when it's that windy outside, there's so much spin and so much movement on the ball, it's tough for players to really judge where it's going to land. So it's got to land right where one of your players is, or it's not going to go anywhere near where it's supposed to be. So Cole's done a superb job. If anything, like we said, we haven't seen Messiah play. We're not sure how they do on corners, but nevertheless, Cole, he'll have the edge today as he'll be controlling that wind, hopefully, with those corners out there.
All right, fellas, we're going to take a quick break, and then I'll run through the other half of this semifinal and then send it back out to you guys for the call. How about that?
Sounds great.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
So we're going to take our last break before we send it out for live coverage of the first semifinal of the Division III Soccer Championships from San Antonio, Texas. This is the WRST Sports Soccer Pregame Show. Back after this. And welcome back to the WRC Sports Soccer Pregame Show. As now under 10 minutes before we kick it out to Brian Scholes and Chris Miller live in San Antonio for the call of the Messiah College and the UW Oshkosh semifinal match at the Division III Soccer Championships. But first, let's take a look at the other side of the bracket, as this tournament does include two other teams. It is a Final Four. It pits Bowdoin College, the sixth-ranked team in the nation according to the NSCAA. They take on unranked Lynchburg. Lynchburg 19-4-1 on the year. Bowdoin 15-1-3 on the year. That game will follow Oshkosh and Messiah at approximately 1:30 this afternoon. So the winner of the Messiah Oshkosh matchup takes on the winner of the Bowdoin Lynchburg for the, it isn't the Golden Boot, but for the placard, and they will be the top team in Division III soccer, the winner of that match. That will happen on Saturday at 1 p.m. So we'll take a look at Bowdoin. Received a bye in their first round, so they went to the second round automatically. They win 2-1 over East Connecticut State in their opening game. Goal in the 81st minute pushes Bowdoin past Eastern Connecticut State. Then they took on Amherst, and it was a 1-1 tie, and it ended up going to penalty kicks, where Bowdoin won that 3-1 in PKs. And then again, Bowdoin moving on to take Middlebury. That game going to overtime, and a 2-1 win for Bowdoin over Middlebury. So plenty of action for, and probably plenty of strained hearts for Bowdoin College as they, in overtime to get to the Final Four, and then in PKs just to get to the quarterfinals. So quite a stretch run there for Bowdoin, but they're back to the national championships as the 6th-ranked team in the nation. As far as Lynchburg goes, Lynchburg having to play a first-round game, taking on Transylvania. They won that one 3-1. Then they moved on to take on Emory down in Atlanta, Georgia, and Lynchburg prevailed in that one 2-1. Then in the quarterfinals, the third round, that was just the third round. Lynchburg upending Trinity. This is actually, Trinity is the host school, the number 1 team in the nation. Lynchburg ended up beating them 2-0. This tournament, this Final Four, being hosted by Trinity University down in San Antonio, Texas. So Lynchburg knocks off the top team in the nation 2-1, and they ended up taking on Ohio Wesleyan in that quarterfinal round, and they take care of Ohio Wesleyan quite easily, 2-0 over in Delaware, Ohio, and they are in the Final Four at 19-4-1. Well, they will take on Bowdoin, like I said earlier, at 1:30 Central Time this afternoon at the Blossom Soccer Complex down in San Antonio, Texas. So somewhat kind of an easy road for Lynchburg. Surprised actually to handle Trinity the way they did, 2-0. So there's a look at the other half of the bracket. The winner of these two games will meet on Saturday at 1 o'clock. And if the Titans do prevail this afternoon, or this morning, I should say, we will have that game live right here on 90.3 WRST on Saturday at 1 p.m. for all our listeners out there. We'll take another quick break, and when we get back, we'll send it back to Brian Scholes and Chris Miller out in San Antonio, Texas, for the start of the match between Oshkosh and Messiah. This is the WRST Sports Pregame Show, and it rolls on after this.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We welcome you to the Northeast Soccer Stadium, part of the Blossom Soccer Complex in San Antonio, Texas, for this play-by-play coverage of the semifinal game of the NCAA Division III Men's Soccer Championship Tournament between the UW Oshkosh Titans and the Messiah College Falcons. Brian Scholes alongside Chris Miller. Chris, how you feeling?
I'm feeling very well. It's a great day, and here in San Antonio, the starters are being announced right now. I'm just really excited right now. It's going to be an absolutely great match this morning into the afternoon, and thank you for those of you who are listening. You're in for a treat.
It is going to be a treat of a match today. Messiah and Oshkosh coming into the Final Four. The second game to be played following this one between Bowdoin and Lynchburg. So the winner of this game will go on to face the winner of that second game in the championship game tomorrow at 1 p.m. But it's a beautiful day here in San Antonio. It's 60 degrees. The field is all ready to go. The players and teams and coaches and officials have approached the field and gone through introductions. We're going to take a quick break here for the national anthem, however. And we'll come back with the start of the game here from San Antonio, Texas. Stay with us on 90.3 WRST FM Oshkosh.